The PowerPoint window is very familiar from your use of other Office 2007 applications. We have the Office button, the Quick Access toolbar with its customization menu. We have the ribbon, the different tabs. Here at the side we have the Outline and Slides pane. The Slides tab shows thumbnails of the slides in the PowerPoint. The Outline shows the text outline of the information on the PowerPoint show. The Slides pane is here, and the Notes pane is here. The Notes pane is for notes to yourself, the presenter, that you want to remember things that aren't on the slide itself. Down here we have the View buttons. This is the normal view, the Slide Sorter view, and the Slideshow view. Click on Slide Sorter to see the Slide Sorter view. Click back on Normal to come back to your normal view. We'll go to the Slides tab to see the normal way. These areas of the screen are flexible. If you want to make your slide bigger or smaller, you can do that. Just dragging the bars to adjust the size of your screen. You also have a zoom slider down here, just as in other Office applications. This button here fits the slide to the current window. Navigating in PowerPoint can be done in several ways. As you can see, this presentation has 24 slides. We can navigate by scrolling down through the Slide tab. We can navigate by sliding down through the vertical scroll bar. We can use the next slide or previous slide buttons. We can also go to Slide Sorter view, pick any slide and double click on it to come back to normal view with that slide as the active slide. Create a blank presentation, click the Office button, click New, choose Blank Presentation, and click Create. A blank presentation will open with one single slide. That slide is laid out as a title slide. If you want to add more slides to the presentation, you just click New Slide. When you click New Slide to a brand new presentation, the next slide that's added is given the layout of title plus content. There are other possibilities. If you click the drop-down arrow, you can choose, for example, here's a to content slide that we've just added to the presentation. Should you choose, if you click New Slide now, another to content slide will be added because the New Slide button adds a new slide with the same format as the previous slide, with the single exception that when you have a title slide as your only slide, then the next slide will add as the title and content layout. If you want to change the layout of an existing slide, choose the Layout menu up here on the ribbon and choose whichever format you want for your slide. To add text to a placeholder, which is any of these squares on the slide, just click and start typing. Again, click. As you can see, as you keep typing, the placeholder will automatically adjust the size of the text in order to fit it into the placeholder. However, it's recommended with PowerPoint you don't go below 16 or 18 point font on the screen. It just makes it too hard for your viewers to read it. So if you click the Auto Fit Options button, you can say stop fitting text to this placeholder, and then you can adjust the size of the placeholder to fit the text. And now I'll adjust this other one. And you see how I have, even though that's clearly a very long title, that's how you adjust it manually to make it work the way you need it to. In the content placeholders, rather than the title ones, the text defaults to bulleted. So let's put an item. Now supposing I have a sub item for 2, just tab in and press enter, and it keeps you at the same level of bullets and indents. If you want to come back out, press shift tab and you can put in your next major item. So again, tab in and shift tab to come out. In PowerPoint, the placeholders themselves can be edited. You can move, cut, copy, paste, and rotate, and adjust the size of any placeholder that's provided for you by the PowerPoint layout. Here I have the title placeholder selected. If I click on it and point to the edge, I get the 4-headed arrow. I can drag to move that placeholder. If I undo that, and if I hold down Control while I drag, I can duplicate that placeholder. Of course, I can just use the delete key to delete the placeholder. Notice that when you want to delete a placeholder itself, you must have the placeholder selected. Right now, you see the flashing vertical line in the text and a dashed outside border to the placeholder. Now, when I click, I see a solid line outlining the border, the placeholder. That solid line indicates that the placeholder itself is selected, rather than the dashed line indicating that the text is selected. If I hit the delete key now, the delete affects the text itself, and I'll undo that. Now I'll select the placeholder and hit delete, and the placeholder itself is deleted. I'll undo that and put the placeholder back in. You can also, of course, use copy, cut, and paste, Control-C, Control-X, Control-V, or the cut, copy, paste options up on the clipboard area of the ribbon. Also, we can, let me Control-drag to create a second title placeholder. And I'll show you we can use the handles to resize that placeholder. We can also use the rotate to move that placeholder, and I'm pointing to the edge, and I'll drag it to reposition it. And now I'll drag this placeholder in, and you'll see we have a totally different layout because of the way we can manage the placeholders on the screen. You can add a brand new text placeholder to a slide at any time. Click the Insert tab on the ribbon and then choose Text Box. And then drag to add the text box in the location of your choice. Then simply add text. That text can then be formatted as you would normally format text up on the home, or you can use Format Painter to match the text from another placeholder, for example, like that. Simple as that. Once you've created and placed your placeholders, there's a lot of formatting you can still do. Click to select a placeholder, and then click the Format tab up on the menu, on the tab list. You'll see we have a number of different areas on the ribbon now to work with placeholders. We have the Shapes area, Shape Styles group, and then the Arrange group. For now, let's look at the first two, Insert Shapes and Shape Styles. I'll begin with Shape Styles. If you click the More button, you'll see a lot of pre-formatted styles you can choose, and a good way to make your presentation very cohesive is to always choose from one column. Choose your colors and then use different styles within those colors. So if we choose green, this is a nice beveled placeholder for green. Then you can click a different placeholder and choose different styles for the other placeholders on the page, thereby getting a formatted page with really almost no effort. Let me undo those changes, and let's look at some other options. If on the Format tab you don't see anything in the selection that's already available to you, you can customize. For example, you can click the Shape Fill, you can choose any of these colors, you can come to the Color tab and choose, and you can also set transparency here. You can also choose a picture for a shape fill. Of course, when you fill with a picture, you have to think about whether the picture is the right shape and size. You can choose a gradient, and you can also choose a texture. So let's make this nice marble texture. Okay. You can then work with the outline. Again, a whole variety of colors. You can also choose, just as before, use the custom color. You can set the weight of your outline, or you can create a dashed outline. Let's just give that a color that offsets. Okay, so not very beautiful perhaps, but it shows you the idea. And finally, you can go to the Shape Effects menu, and you can choose a lot of different effects. So I'll choose that one. If you don't want to use the presets, the options just go on and on and on. So let's choose a glow. We'll glow it in green. So that's very quick formatting of placeholders using the pre-formatted placeholder selections in Shape Styles. If you come to the Insert Shapes dialog box and choose the Edit Shape, you can change the shape to anything that is here on this option. For example, a lightning bolt. And then if I fill it with pale blue, you see that it actually is a lightning bolt shape. Let's change it to maybe a banner, or a wow, or, oh my, a heart. Okay, and then of course you can adjust the size of it and so forth, and then of course we'll need to rotate it again, and we'll pull it down here to the bottom. Okay, so there's some basic formatting for your placeholder here in Shape Styles and in the Insert Shapes on the Edit Shape dialog box. So let's convert that one to an oval, and we'll give it a small outline so that we can see the oval, and there it is. So you see you have lots and lots of options for placing. The one final option I'll point out is you can send it to the back. You can layer your placeholders. So bringing that heart to the front puts it in front of the red oval, sending it to the back puts it behind. And that's just up to you how you want to have it.